When Admiral Nimitz took over from Admiral Kimmel, he retained the staff.
When Nimitz took over, he told Leighton, he says, I want you to tell me what Admiral Yamamoto was thinking and planning, and most importantly, I want you to tell me today what he's going to do tomorrow. Japanese communications were being transmitted by Morse code in digits, in numbers. The digits of the JN-25 code were 5 digits, 5-digit code groups. By the time of the Battle of Midway, we had recovered probably 40% of those code groups. And the result of that was we were able to read enough of the message texts to make intelligent sense out of what the message was about. We knew from the follow-up translations after the Pearl Harbor attack that Pearl Harbor was AH. And we also had references to AF and an AK. We discovered that AK, was French frigate Shoals, and that's where the submarines met. And we knew that Hawaii was AH. There was also one reference in some of that traffic to AF, which we kind of deduced was Midway.
Analysts at Pearl Harbor and in Washington were aware that the Japanese were planning a major operation. The analysts in Washington were convinced that it would be an attack against Hawaii or possibly the west coast of the United States, not a small atoll like Midway.
And they were focused on that so intently that they rejected the idea that it was Midway. All of our circumstantial evidence showed it to be Midway. And we told Admiral Nimitz that.
About 10 days prior to the battle, when Admiral Nimitz was preparing to send his inferior forces out against the Japanese fleet, Admiral King sent a communication to Sink Pack and said, I cannot permit you to risk your limited forces against this large fleet unless you know for certain what the target is.
Commander Holmes was standing by my desk talking to me when Commander Rochefort approached him and said, Jasper, we've got to do something to prove to the world that AF is Midway.
Jasper Holmes had been an engineering professor at the University of Hawaii and had worked on studies on how to provision Midway Island and knew that fresh water had to be produced by evaporators. He proposed Pearl Harbor contact Midway Island via the underwater phone cable that still connected both islands. He reasoned that if we ordered the commander to broadcast a radio message in the clear that his freshwater system had a problem, and that if we could intercept a follow-up Japanese message, we could prove AF was Midway.
The next day, they reported to Tokyo that the commanding officer of the Naval Air Station at AF had reported to his headquarters in Hawaii that he had a water casualty and had a limited supply of fresh water. Well, that cinched it. That cinched that AF was Midway.